By now, you should already be aware that DICE's work on Battlefield 5 is slowing down a little bit due to them moving from working in the studio to working in their individual homes. And if you didn't know that, then congratulations, now you know. A couple of weeks ago, a blog post was released stating that there was a high likelihood that the next Battlefield 5 update, update 6.4, that would be pushed back, and that sort of signalled that the rest of Chapter 6 was somewhat cancelled, as there was no new content planned to be added to that either. And now coming to today, we have a little bit more of a clearer picture about what's happening with Battlefield 5 over the next 8 weeks or so. Update 6.4, or what would have been the update that was planned to be released in early April, that's being cancelled, and it's being combined with the May update that was supposed to come out about a month later. This means Battlefield 5 won't receive any updates for at least the next 4 to 5 weeks. And before you start complaining down in the comments section, because I get that that's quite disappointing, you should just know that this is because of the global world health crisis that we're all facing at the moment. And with the developers all working from home, that's introduced a few bottlenecks into their workflow. It makes it harder for them to compile an update and get it tested before rolling it out to the public. My understanding is that DICE is doing their best to try and prioritize stability and bug fixing with these next few patches over just pure content, and that has meant that testing these patches with working from home at the same time, that's become much harder to do. And rather than just elongate that testing process and potentially delay an update and then causing a delay to another update after that one, DICE has opted to cancel this April update and roll it all into a May update instead. That's going to give the team more time to check in bug fixes on top of allowing the team more time to test the update and make sure it works as intended. So with that explanation out of the way then, what can we really expect from Battlefield 5's next update, which, as I've said, is about 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 weeks away at this point? Well, last night, community manager Adam Freeman, he released a short blog post with some key information about what the team is working on, and one element really caught my eye. I think it's going to make for very good reading for some community members out there. DICE is making some major changes to the default soldier outfits and default vehicle camos. After taking on some extended feedback from the community, I'd say, the colours of these default setups are being changed to look more authentic to the World War II setting. You can see from this shot here, the new default look for the German faction is being changed towards grey and green, and I think that's kind of similar to what we saw in the closed alphas for Battlefield 5. I'm not quite sure that's correct, but I think they were more grey back then than they were now. And the British soldier here, you can see the outfit is definitely more brown than it used to be. Now, these colour changes are also being extended to some of the vehicles in the game. The transport vehicles and the squad reinforcement vehicles, they're being changed up. So you can see the Churchill Crocodile tank here on Narvik and Hamada certainly looking a bit different and more in keeping with the environments. It is all still a work in progress, this stuff. This might not be the final looks that they go for. The colours may be slightly different when the update goes live. But certainly, I think the changed up colours do look better on the tanks, and the uniforms do look a bit more authentic, which, as I said, is likely going to make players very happy. Certainly the ones who want more authenticity and accuracy in the game. But looking at the colours that DICE is changing things to, on some maps I have a feeling that certain soldiers with their default outfit on will now blend into the background more than they did previously, and that might have an impact on visibility during gameplay, but I will reserve my judgment until that update lands in May. Something else that's coming with the May update will be the addition of another Outpost game mode map. This time we're getting the map Twisted Steel added to the rotation, and that joins Mercury, Arras, Pacific Storm, Iwo Jima, and Aerodrome in offering the game mode. And that means, likely, right at the beginning of the next chapter of Battlefield 5, Chapter 7, we're probably going to see Outpost as a limited time game mode hosted for one of those weeks. With Chapter 6's last week set to start on April 23rd, and then usually there being a week or 2 week gap between the chapters, Chapter 7 is likely going to start within the first or the second full week of May, but I assume it won't actually begin until the May update has launched, and because we don't have a date for that right now, we can't really be confident of when that's going to land. But of course the update will bring all the changes, fixes, improvements, and new content that DICE has been working on. At the moment, at least, the May update does kind of sound like it's just going to continue what's already happening here for Battlefield 5, and it's just going to push into Chapter 7 with Pacific content being the focus. That might not have been the initial plan, but it's now what's happening, and I wouldn't be surprised if plans for the May update, or anything that was being planned around that time, has actually been pushed back into the summer at this point. It is really hard to actually predict what DICE is going to do at the moment, because even prior to all of these changes for 2020, we weren't given any sort of roadmap or content list for what we could expect from Battlefield 5. DICE instead was handing out information drops and updates on a monthly basis. Freeman did say in his post that bigger details on the May update would be handed out in due course, likely at the point when those features or changes have actually been locked in for the patch and they can 100% confirm that they are actually going to come to the game. But still, at the moment, we're sort of in the dark regarding the immediate future of Battlefield 5. But one other thing expected to be fixed in the May update are the Stuka and Spitfire missiles. They can currently one-hit tanks due to a bug introduced with update 6.2. Unfortunate that this bug is now going to continue to be exploited for the next month or so, but what can you really do? If the patch isn't ready, then it isn't ready. And really, I think it's also worth telling you guys about some of the stuff that definitely won't be included in the May update. Freeman handed out some replies on Reddit to a couple of these points. Some of you might be aware that the ribbon system in Battlefield 5, that's been broken for quite some time. In update 5.0, before the turn of the new year, DICE made the decision to turn the ribbon system off completely until they could fix it and bring it back online. And the issue that DICE was tracking was multiples of the same type of ribbon being handed out during rounds. So, say you got a kill assist ribbon once, you wouldn't be able to get that ribbon again during the round, even if you met the criteria for unlocking the ribbon. That was the bug. It was causing you to miss out on certain XP gains. As it turns out, the error being tracked cannot be solved without rebuilding the entire ribbon system. And based on other tasks that the DICE team has to work on at the moment, including all the new content and all of the other pressing fixes that need to be made, the decision has been made to permanently turn off ribbons and leave them inactive. So you'll never see ribbons again in Battlefield 5. RIP to that system. And then something else unlikely to change is the managing of assignments during rounds. Currently only 4 assignments can be tracked at once, and to start new ones you have to leave the server and activate them in the main menu. In my opinion, that's a massive user experience error on DICE's part that really should have been picked up and changed during the game's pre-launch development, because that's just a really, really bad system. The fact you have to quit your match in order to do something that in previous games you didn't even have to end the match to change, that's a bit bad in my opinion. It doesn't look good. But according to Freeman, the work required to change this system and make assignments manageable during rounds would require, just like ribbons, a complete rework of the system. And at the same time would also require further work to change the way that network traffic was handled in Battlefield 5. And at this stage in the game's life, that's not something that DICE is looking to change. Unfortunately, this is just a bad system that we're going to have to live with. But we can hope that DICE learns about this for their next Battlefield game and they don't make another system like it in the future. So really, right now, the future isn't exactly clear for Battlefield 5. And it's just dawned on me how many times I've already said that during this game's life cycle. We know stuff is coming, we know the next major update is now set for May, but we don't really know much about the update and we don't know much about Chapter 7 or its theme. So we're kind of a bit in the dark here. As I said earlier, Freeman will be dropping more information over the next few weeks as items are locked in for the next update, but it is safe to say that April is going to be quite a long month for Battlefield 5. There's going to be barely anything happening at all apart from the Tides of War challenges handing out some tier skips. It's disappointing, but of course, with what's happening in the world right now, I don't really think we expected too much different, to be honest. Thanks very much for watching. Leave me a rating and a comment. It is always appreciated. And I'll catch you all in the next one.